A man writes to his older friend because he is waiting on a lawsuit, and the other side is angry, and he cannot stop turning it over. We know this because the reply survives. It is roughly 2,000 years old, and the first thing it does is refuse him the thing he asked for. He wanted to be told it would probably be fine. Seneca will not say that, not out of cruelty, but because he thinks reassurance is the same disease as the worry, wearing better clothes. 7 lessons in Richard Gummere's public domain translation, with every passage on screen so you can check me. 5 of them come from one letter, number 13, which he called On Groundless Fears. And it is worth being clear about what kind of help this is. Seneca is not going to tell you the outcome will be good. He is going to work on the machinery that keeps producing the question. Why indeed, he asks. Is it necessary to summon trouble, or to anticipate trouble and ruin the present through fear of the future? Lesson 1. Most of it is rehearsal, not experience. There are more things, Lucilius, likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This is the most quoted sentence Seneca ever wrote, and it is usually served as comfort. It isn't comfort, it is an accounting claim. He is saying that if you tallied your suffering honestly, most of the entries would be things that never occurred, not exaggerations, events that did not happen, suffered anyway, in full. And notice the wording, likely to frighten, not able to harm. 2 different lists, and we live on the longer one. Lesson 2. Sort the worry into 3 piles. Some things torment us more than they ought. Some torment us before they ought. And some torment us when they ought not to torment us at all. This is the only piece of technique in the whole letter, and it takes about 10 seconds to use. Too much, too early, or not at all. A worry that survives the sorting is real and can be worked on. Most do not survive it. And the second pile, too early, is the crowded one, because a thing that has not happened yet cannot be acted on, only felt. Seneca then does something unusual for a moralist. He sets the first pile aside as still under discussion and admits people differ on what counts as serious. Lesson 3. Check the source before you break camp. We do not put to the test those things which cause our fear. We do not examine into them. We blench and retreat just like soldiers who are forced to abandon their camp because of a dust cloud raised by stampeding cattle. The image is exact, and it is military, which for a Roman reader meant it was not a metaphor about feelings. An army sees dust on the horizon and abandons a defensible position. The dust was cattle. The camp is lost anyway. What Seneca is pointing at is the missing step. Nobody rode out to look. Panic fear, he says a line later, is the worst kind, because other fears are groundless. But this one is witless. It has not even bothered to be wrong about something specific. 3 in, and it is worth saying who is writing. Seneca was Nero's tutor, later his advisor, and one of the wealthiest men in Rome. A philosopher of poverty with an enormous fortune. People have used that contradiction to dismiss him for 19 centuries. Read the letters, though, and he is the first to raise it. He never claims to be a wise man. He claims to be a sick man describing the ward. 4 more. Lesson 4. Hope and fear wear the same chain. Just as the same chain fastens the prisoner and the soldier who guards him, so hope and fear, dissimilar as they are, keep step together. Fear follows hope. Here is why he would not reassure the man with the lawsuit. Hope and fear look opposite and are the same posture, both leaning out of the present, waiting on news. And he names the root plainly. The chief cause of both these ills is that we do not adapt ourselves to the present, but send our thoughts a long way ahead. Then the line that stings. Foresight, the noblest blessing of the human race, becomes perverted. The faculty is not the problem. It is running with nothing to work on. Lesson 5. Ask the second question. Let another say, perhaps the worst will not happen. You yourself must say, well, what if it does happen? Let us see who wins. Notice the two speakers. Another person offers you the first line, and it is kind, and it does nothing, because it leaves the outcome in charge. The second line is the one you have to say yourself, and it is not bravado. It moves the question from what will happen, which you cannot know, to what you would do, which you can actually answer. Most fears have never been asked that second question, which is exactly why they keep their power. Lesson 6. If you are going to rehearse it, rehearse all of it. Let us summon to our minds beforehand not as great an evil as oftentimes happens, but the very greatest evil that possibly can happen. This looks like the opposite of everything so far, and it is the necessary counterweight. Worry loops because it never finishes. It circles the middle of the disaster and never reaches the end, so there is always another lap. Seneca's instruction is to go all the way to the bottom, deliberately, once, and look at what is actually there. The difference between dreading a room and walking into it. Done once, on purpose, it ends. Done involuntarily at 2 in the morning, it never does. Lesson 7. Worry is how a life gets postponed. The fool, with all his other faults, has this also. He is always getting ready to live. Seneca ends letters the way you would stamp a seal into wax, with a borrowed line. This one he attributes to Epicurus, a philosopher from a rival school. And then he pushes on it. Think of old men laying down new foundations, he says, beginning fresh plans at the edge of the grave. That is the cost the other 6 lessons exist to prevent. Not discomfort, not fear. The quiet substitution of preparing for a life instead of having one. 7 lessons, and none of them is cheer up. Sort it. Test it. Notice that hope is the same posture as the fear. Ask what you would do. Go to the bottom once, on purpose. What holds them together is one conviction. Worry is not information. It feels like diligence, produces nothing, and charges the present for a future that mostly does not arrive. All 7 passages are in the description with their letter numbers. Letter 13 takes about 10 minutes and is worth all of them. If this was worth your quiet, stay a while. There is one idea here every day.